Welcome to this art talk, I guess. So to start off, I guess Nicole, just introduce yourself. So like your name, your title, where you're at, what you do, anything else you want us to know.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Elizabeth. Hey guys, nice to meet you all. I look forward to maybe talking afterwards and hearing a little bit about your stories, but just to give you a broad overview, I'm Nicole Humphrey. I am currently the Associate Director of Development with the Nature Conservancy, Kentucky. So that is a part of, it's kind of hard to explain, but we function kind of like our own nonprofit throughout the entire state of Kentucky, but we are a part of the entire Nature Conservancy, which is a global nonprofit and the largest conservancy or conservation nonprofit in the world. So I'm doing that. My past experience, I do have an arts administration degree. I studied that in undergrad with a double minor in strategic communications and dance. I stayed in the art sector throughout my entire career until this point. So I don't know if I'm 30 years old. I don't know if that was the change, but my heart was pulling me to do more work in conservation and to support what I could with the urgent need to reduce climate change. So that is my quick story. And in terms of Kentucky, Emma knows this, but I've kind of moved all around. I am from Dallas, Texas. I went to school at Butler University in Indianapolis, moved straight to Maui, Hawaii after that, and got a really great start to my career there. And we can talk more about that throughout this. And then moved back to Kentucky for the first time, but with my husband. He is from here. So Louisville is our home for the foreseeable future.
All right, awesome. So the next sort of like question we have in a row was, what was your dream job as a child? Because I mean, obviously you've mentioned you started with dance and did some other things, and then now you're here. So like, what did you want to do when you were a kid?
Yeah, I love that question. And it's always so hard for me to think back, but I definitely wanted to be on Broadway or direct a Broadway show. From a very young age, I have two siblings and I have cousins. I was directing and creating plays at a very young age and forcing family members to watch. For good or for bad. But yeah, that was definitely a dream of mine, to be on Broadway. And I kept up with my dancing, and I studied classical ballet throughout my entire childhood through later into my 20s. But yeah, that changed as I got more into my studies and into experiencing other things. But that was my earliest dream.
That's awesome. I know there's a couple, I'm a dance major. There's a couple other dance majors on here, so I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that. So, I mean, you sort of touched on it a bit, but what's your background and educational experience like?
So I told y'all I did study arts admin. I think I wanted to share with y'all, if you go the arts track, that's fabulous. I know a lot of you are probably arts admin or performance majors in various art forms. But you can always change that later in life too. If you're, be confident in your intelligence and your abilities to be able to switch career paths if you're interested. In terms of my career, I did some things differently. I went to school, graduated in 4 years, and I did not want a desk job. That was my motivation. And I know that sounds strange, and maybe some of y'all are experiencing that. I don't know how many of you are seniors, but I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do after college. I quit dance midway. My entire life was dedicated to that. I quit, and that's why I just had a minor in dance. So I decided to pack my bags and move to Hawaii to work on an organic farm for 3 months. And that turned into almost a year of being really with the earth and just living my life out there all alone, with building a community out in Hawaii by myself. It was great. And that time gave me some reflection to realize I really wanted to get back into the art sector and that I really liked doing that kind of work. So from there, I found some women that were doing some really cool dancing in Maui. And I got in touch with them. I was really inspired by their work and asked them if they had ever considered becoming an official company. And that I think I was 23 or 22, knew how to start a nonprofit from my arts admin classes. So I went for it. I started a 501c3 with 2 other women, and it's still running today. It's a professional dance company in Maui. I still serve on the advisory board there, and that's probably one of my proudest moments and really helped launch my other careers. From there, I worked at a performing arts center, the Maui Arts and Cultural Center in Hawaii. I was a development manager there. I ran all of our events and I worked on fundraising projects. So I did that for about 4 years while running the dance company and dancing with the dance company. It was a lot. It was a lot, but it was, you know, when you're young, you have energy and you can do it. Yeah. So moved to Kentucky and worked at the Fund for the Arts, which was an organization I had really targeted because they seemed exactly in line with what I was interested in doing, serving the entire art sector through one organization and working with all different capacities. Really interesting kind of work to be able to work for a United Arts Fund. So I was a development manager there, fundraising and running events, running our intern program, our volunteer program, and our young professional board of directors. From there, I did that for about 2 years. And like I told y'all, my heart was pulling me to do more in climate. And this job opportunity opened up at the Nature Conservancy, which has always been an organization I have followed, have volunteered for, have really cared about, and I went for it. And now I'm in this position, and I've only been in it for about 3 or 4 months. Yeah, sorry, that was a lot. Any questions?
That's fantastic.
Good. Feel free to ask me questions throughout if y'all want. Like, I don't need to just spew on y'all. I'm happy to do some back and forth too.
Anyone got anything now? Or are we good?
If no questions, that's fine.
Well, I think you sort of have already like answered this next question, but I mean, if there's anything else you want to add, that would also be great. So when you were starting your career, did you expect to be in your current position?
Yeah, you know what, I was reading through these questions. Oh, it's such a hard question because I would say, yes, in different parts of my career, yes, I wanted to be in a director position by age 30-ish, just because I kind of got a late start in my personal career with spending time working on a farm and starting a nonprofit, which, you know, was the most valuable lessons I've ever learned, but it did kind of make me start my track a little bit later, but which is fine. You know, I've been able to move up in promotions and whatnot, but I am where I want to be. And I am where I thought I might be, but that's not to say that I didn't have my doubts throughout these last 10 years in fundraising and in development. I definitely have had ups and downs wanting to go off on my own and start my own business. I've had different ideas there. So, you know, nonprofit work is a grind, but it's also incredible and very valuable work. And you have to be passionate about that mission to be at it every day because it's not easy. So I answer that kind of yes and no. I'm really happy where I am, and I can see like a nice future, and I'm going to have to work really hard to get there. But that didn't come without its doubts.
So what does a typical day look like for you in your position?
So fundraising, y'all, so my current role, so I'll just talk with you specifically about that. Um, I'm not sure if y'all have taken fundraising classes or how familiar you are with fundraising work, but it is constant research and analysis and strategies. Um, it is talking with people. So if you enjoy talking with others in your team, at work, outside of the organization, because you're donors, right? That is really vital and important to being a fundraiser. You have to like to just be able to shoot the shit with people, right? So, excuse my French, but yeah, it's really about strategizing. When you're able to have a bigger role in fundraising, that's where you're dedicating your time. Of course, like part of that is database entry and organizational tasks, but those are highly important to keep you on track with staying on top of the type of people that you need to be talking with and getting in front of. And then of course, working very closely with your board of directors is a huge perk and highlight of the job. And that is something that you're thinking about daily. So you have your general things that you want to accomplish every day, and you want to try to get in front of a donor, or at least try to reach out to a donor every single day. But beyond that, things get thrown at you all the time. I love development, and I think I've been in it this long because it is always changing. My day never looks the same. I'm never bored. I'm moving around a lot too. Like COVID is different, but usually as an out the door fundraiser, you are going to coffee dates, you're going to lunches, like you are moving around and talking to people. You're not just at your desk all day.
Great. So now what's one piece of advice you would give a young artist or student based on your past experiences?
One piece of advice. It's so hard to only give one. Y'all can email me for more advice
You
later.
can do more if you like. Do whatever you want.
I think the one thing I wanted to leave y'all, because this has definitely helped me in my life when I'm trying to make a decision, is to do something that scares you. I think take that as an artist, take that as a professional trying to pursue a different career or get out of a certain career. You'll definitely have those times where you're feeling like maybe your head's banging up against the wall and it's really scary to try to make a change or make a career shift. So do something that scares you. And I also advise that in your personal life, do something out of the norm that's fun and exciting and gets your creative juices flowing.
Great. Okay, so now what do you consider to be your most successful career move or moment? And again, if you want to do like more than one, feel free.
Yeah, so I would say my most successful career move is definitely my current position with the Nature Conservancy. That took a lot of guts and work to apply for that job. And now that I'm in it, it's the challenge that I was looking for. And I'm very happy about that. I like to do things that challenge me so that I feel like I'm always growing. In terms of my biggest career moment, I just have to bring it back to my dance company, Adaptations Dance Theater. I'm definitely wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't have that experience and the courage to start that with my two other founders, these amazing women who are still in Maui leading it. And yeah, I really feel like I attribute a lot of that to giving me the confidence to know that I can do things that I put my mind to. And really everyone has that inside of themselves. You just have to get out and do it and trust yourself.
Thank you. All right. So what role does an artist like yourself play in our society beyond like just your job?
Yeah. Y'all, when I read that, I was like, I'm probably not the best person to answer that because I haven't been like an art. And I did text my friend Hallie in Hawaii to get her amazing insight. She did not get back to me. So if you're watching this, Hallie, but what I'll say is, I think artists can be catalysts for change, right? Like artists are storytellers. Use your art to really communicate with people to open their minds. And I think we've seen a lot of really great art come out of this last year. If we just think about the craziness and so many capacities of 2020 into 2021, and how artists are helping to share those stories, helping us digest what's going on and help us think about how we can change and act and do better. Yeah, art in all forms. I mean, look at Amanda, the poet laureate during the inauguration. So, I mean, art is used in these type of settings for a reason because it's a way to communicate and create change. I hope that works. I know Hallie's answer would have been better, but.
So what encourages and inspires you in your job?
My team, I think teamwork is key. That was probably my other piece of advice to you all, just to go back to that. Learn how to collaborate and work in a team and uplift each other and each other's ideas. It's one of the most invaluable things you can do in your career and moving forward in your life. I would say my teams that I've worked with in the past and present, my team at the Nature Conservancy, I mean, they're all incredibly inspiring to me and the mission of the work I do. I am very lucky, and I think a lot of us in this kind of career, art or arts management, we are passionate people that want to do work that we care about and that inspires us. Never lose that, because if you've been driven that way your entire life, you're most likely not going to change, and you're going to want to work towards something that inspires you daily. So for me, it's the mission of the organizations I've worked for, and currently it's I have so much to learn at the Nature Conservancy, and I really encourage y'all, if you care about conservation, to look them up after. This is not a fundraising plug by any means. This is just go learn, because there's a lot of stuff that this organization's doing, and I'm just at the tip of the iceberg of it, and I'm truly inspired by it daily.
All right. So what do you want to do next? And what are your current goals?
What I want to do next is to be in this job for a while, to really get a grip and hold on it. Again, I'm lucky I'm in a position that's quite challenging in a good way. And I'm excited to learn. My goal right now is to just learn and be open to new things daily in this work and just in my personal life. Career goals, if we just think, so I'm the Associate Director of Development. Being the Director of Development of Kentucky is, of course, an interesting aspiration. I do, at this point in time, plan to be with the Nature Conservancy for a long time, if it works out that way. There are a lot of really interesting opportunities working for such a large nonprofit. As you guys get to explore your career options, I personally only worked for small nonprofits that had 20 or less staff people in the entire organization, propelling a really strong mission forward. Now I'm working for a nonprofit that has 4,000 employees. So there are a lot of opportunities, and I'm glad I worked for the smaller nonprofits in the start of my career, just personally. Everyone's different, but I'm really excited to see the numerous opportunities ahead of me just working in this nonprofit at the Nature Conservancy. My field is a little bit more open than your typical step up. And in terms of long-term goals, I don't know. I mean, really, no one knows the future. I have to try to live daily. It's really hard when you're a planner. And I like to plan for the future, but if anything, through COVID, you learn to take things day by day and to be present and be happy where you are, and then make slow progressions forward. So I don't know if that helped at all or confused you guys, but I think just know that every career person is like, no one knows exactly where they're going to end up way down the line.
Awesome. Thank you. I think that's the end of our official questions. So I'll go ahead and open the floor if anyone else wants to ask anything. And if not, I'll start us off with a question. But anyone else first? Go for it, Emma.
So you started your own nonprofit before you actually started working in nonprofits, yes?
Yes.
That's correct. Okay, what was the biggest thing that you learned from starting your own before you went into actually working at an already established nonprofit?
And just I think Emma, I not that I forgot this, but I was teaching dance for a nonprofit, and I was helping write a few grants while I was starting this nonprofit. But that wasn't an official role. Sorry, my dog. Oh, that is such a good question. Starting a nonprofit, I think we learned so much as we were going. I'm trying to take my head back to 2013 when this happened. Building relations in the community is key. We had the unique opportunity of creating a dance company in Hawaii where hula and Native Hawaiian dance is the primary form of dance there. And we were coming in with a contemporary dance company. So I think it was really important for us to build strong roots and foundations with the local community before we came in and imposed our own will on what we wanted there. So I think that I advise that in any community you go into, really learn and establish. We did our research, who was there, who was leading in the dance community, what already existed, who could we partner with and form an alliance with, to know that we were going to be working together and not a competition by any means. So I think that that's key for businesses. I think that I would probably say that goes outside of nonprofits too, just smart business practices of building those strong relations. Building your board of directors is really important too, finding the right players. That was a really fun experience. And you're always building upon your board of directors because term limits. Usually boards have term limits. So establishing your mission and goals, kind of getting all those basic things that you really do study in arts and min. You learn about those foundations. I really did do those things, and it helped set us up for success of where we wanted to be in 5 years, in 10 years. I think our being flexible is important as you start out, and to know that you're not going to be making massive profits for probably your first 5 years. So especially as a dance nonprofit, dance company, small dance company, we all had other jobs. We were all working with other jobs, but we had all dedicated and hustled to know that we were going to just have to work our butts off to make this work and just be exhausted, but it was worth it. So having our own support group to always come back to why we were doing this was vital. I would never have been able to do that on my own. My partner, Hallie, would never have been able to do it on her own, and neither Amelia. We all brought something to the team and worked together to keep each other going. Does that answer your question? I know that was kind of a lot there, but just, yeah, you're always learning, always.
All right, anyone else?
I have a question. What is one like mistake that you made in any stage of your career that like you look back now and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I made that mistake because it, you know, propelled me in this direction?
Yeah. Am I in an interview? No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, yeah. I've definitely made, so I was like a events manager. Like I was running like massive fundraising events, brew festivals for 5,000 people, wine and galas. Definitely made mistakes in those events, and that's event planning though. So happy to talk about that separately. In terms of like interpersonal mistakes, I think if you're a really ambitious person with goals and ideas, and you want to move fast and you want to move forward, one of the mistakes I made early on in my career was trying to move too quickly and impose my ideas on the organization that I was working in. So this is not my dance company where I was able to throw out my ideas and literally, that's the great thing about starting a company. You could come up with an idea today, implement it tomorrow, right? Because why not? You're the one making the decisions. I took a lot of that energy into one of my first roles at the Maui Arts and Cultural Center. And I have a great relationship with all those people there, but I learned fast how that was not a good idea. So really coming in, and that's not to say to squash your ideas, but to come in and respect the authority and the way the ground is laid, and to figure out how to maneuver throughout that process and form good partnerships with people that you work with so that you can build trust. Trust is key. You want people to be trusting you, and you want to be able to trust others to bring ideas to the table. But yeah, I would say as young 20-year-old, I jumped in too fast and thinking that I was, able to just implement these ideas right away, and that I learned the hard way. So I give that advice to you all. And I always tell this to interns I've worked with. I don't know if I've ever told you, Emma, but that I know that, that was hard for me, but it's made me a better employee and a better team player throughout my career.
Oh, sorry. Was someone listening?
No, I was saying good question.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the people who you started the dance company with, were you guys like friends beforehand? Or did you meet through something and then?
Yeah, I was a total stalker. I was working on the farm, had a lot of time to meditate and reflect. And that's when I realized, like, actually, I really do want to get back in dance. And it had been several years that I stopped dancing. I personally didn't want to start dancing again, but I wanted to be involved with getting some kind of dance, something, I don't know. And I was just researching what was taking place in Maui, and I stumbled across some videos on YouTube of these women that were just like literally playing in a rehearsal studio, just having fun. And they did like one really small performance at a high school dance thing. And I just reached out to them and I said, hey, I actually went to go see one of their small shows. And then I reached out to them and said I wanted to grab coffee. And yeah, so I put myself out there and it worked out. And then now, like, yeah, we're great friends and we like built upon our network, and the company's still growing today. So it's really exciting.
That's awesome. Do you have any sort of like tips for that sort of thing? Like just reaching out to someone out of the blue? Because I feel like it's much easier if you already know some people to reach out to them, but if it's someone you've never spoken to, how do you go about that?
Great question. I was just talking with someone about this, a college student about this over Christmas. Networking is key, y'all. I haven't gotten any of my jobs without networking, except for my most current job that I like literally applied for through like a application process. I have always been one to just find out who the right person is at that organization, send an email, and follow up 3 times because don't take offense if they don't get back to you. There's so many times emails just like fly past my radar, and I don't mean to miss them. You know, it's just people are busy, especially if you're emailing like a director or a CEO of a small nonprofit. So make yourself known, state your passion case, and that you would love to just get together with coffee or, you know, for 30 minutes, I would love to just learn more about what you do. I'm really excited about this work. That's how you do it. And I don't think I'm outdated saying that. Like, I know I'm older than y'all, but I truly believe that I know that happened, that worked for me. And I know that works for other people. And it's the people who really put themselves out there and aren't afraid of a rejection or whatnot. Those are the people who are able to really get what they want, get those jobs, you know? Yeah, just applying through Indeed or these other job sites, trust me, I have applied through a lot of job sites like that, and it's like led to nothing. So that's not to say it won't, maybe something will come of it, but yeah, put yourself out there and don't be afraid to do that, because where I am now, if someone reached out to me, I would get coffee with them because I know that helped me get where I am.
Okay, great. Oh, Jasmine, what do you got?
Hello. I kind of have like, I guess like a double-ended question. Because it just like came to mind.
Yeah.
But are like, okay, first part, do you have any like I guess to someone who's coming out of undergrad or graduate, whatever, how would you suggest they start networking? And then also, how has like your networking been like with people that you have met through undergrad and stuff, if that makes sense?
Like, how has it gone?
Yeah, like how are those people, like how has it affected you now, like in your career, and like have they had a big impact, or have you just met more people since after?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's start with your first question. Undergrad networking. What I would suggest you do, or this is what I've done, kind of narrow down the field that you're interested in, or like some organization that really is exciting to you. Pick a few and go to those websites. I guarantee either an office phone number or a lot of people's personal emails are on these websites these days. Find those emails, draft a really strong email, make sure to edit and review, no spelling errors, make it strong. I wouldn't attach your resume at that point in time because you really just want it to be like a, hey, I would love to get to know you and more about the organization. I really enjoy your mission, and I'm a recent grad, and I'm trying to get out and learn more in the community, etc. So I would suggest that would be how you network. Start with just finding those targeted people that you are really interested in getting to know. Another way to do it, y'all, I am not a fan of networking events. Even though I am a fundraiser, just trust me when I say walking into one of those things by myself I don't like that. So, and I talk to people for a living. So that works for some people though. That didn't work for me. But I know that a lot of these young professional groups exist. I know that there's pretty sure there's one in Lexington. I know there's one in Louisville. Get involved with one of those things. And that can be a great way to start making connections and networking with people and just learning about different career opportunities or hearing if there's maybe a job opening or whatnot. So that's definitely something, but I would highly encourage the one-on-one attempts. You can definitely talk to friends too and just say, hey, do you have anyone that may be in this kind of line of work or whatnot? Or if you have any artist friends, like who knows who? You're just kind of building this web to figure out who can you really talk to, because you never know, that may open up some door for you to learn about some new opportunity. In terms of my own networking experiences, yes, every networking experience I've had has been fruitful. And I have stayed in touch with those people. So I think that's what's really important too. After, let's say you get someone to go to coffee with you, follow up with them in 6 months or a year. Just send them a note. Hey, how are you doing? What's going on? Maybe you try to get coffee with them again, even if you've already made it into a job. Stay in touch with those people. They saw something in you and wanted to meet with you and spent time to talk with you. I think it's a nice courtesy to maintain those kind of relationships. I still do that now. That people that I've met, maybe, so I'm in Louisville now, and I had to go through this whole process when I moved to Louisville of networking and trying to figure out what kind of openings there were. And that's how I got a job at the fund. And I'm still staying in touch with some of those people as I continue to move on in my career. So yes, fruitful. Don't be afraid to reach out to people, because I guarantee they want to talk to you and they will talk with you. Good questions, guys.
Anything else from anyone else?
Okay, this might be a kind of personal question, but if I were to go to Maui, could I take dance classes at your company?
Oh my gosh, yes. I mean, they it's COVID right now, but hopefully when we're, can move out of this, yeah, they have open classes. And yes, I mean, you all can keep my email after this. And if you ever want to talk to me personally about any other questions privately, I'm happy to do so. Or if you get to travel to Maui and you want to go dance with ADT, please email me and I will hook you guys up. They're fun. They're quirky and out there, but they are fun.
Anything else?
What's your favorite event that you got to do in Maui? Like when you worked with the Arts and Cultural Center? Didn't you plan events for them, or was that something else?
What was my favorite event that I got to plan?
Yeah.
The Maui Brewers Festival. I did that for 4 years in a row. I grew it, like our profits every year. I grew the number of breweries. We were up to 45 breweries from around the country, and I think 25 food vendors. Oh, it was so much fun, y'all. I learned a lot about beer. I don't drink beer anymore. I've had like a small little wheat allergy, which is really sad because I learned a lot about beer and met some really amazing, I really believe that brewing beer is like an art form, because these guys and women that I was talking to who were brewing beer around the country they cared so much and were making such unique products. So that was so fun. I loved doing that. And for my dance company, I started a dance festival in Maui. So that was really amazing. We were purposely featuring dance from all diverse cultures. So there's so much diversity in Hawaii, throughout the Hawaiian Islands. It was really neat to bring all these different dance forms that have their own communities in Hawaii, bring them together for an outdoor festival. Yeah. love fundraising and I love this job I'm in, but I do love event planning. I've had the pleasure to get to put on some really fun events.
Great. Anything else?
I have something. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very, very interested in event planning. So I don't know, is there just like anything you would want to share about it, like very broadly? I am very interested.
Yeah. Let's see, like in terms of skills or just need, I would say like organization is key. So like, if you like planning and if you find yourself making like little to-do lists daily or like always checking off stuff and making sure you're all organized, that's like a good sign for event planning, because you're constantly thinking about all the things that have to take place for this event. One other thing to think, or another thing to think about for event planning is to go through your scenario of what will go wrong, because if you ever get into event planning, Jasmine, something will go wrong at every single event you throw. It does not matter how much you prepare or how much you plan. That is just life, and that is reality. I mean, I just trust me. It could be something major or it could be something small, but something will go wrong. So I think like planning for whatever case scenario could be wrong that would happen, but also preparing yourself to act calm, cool, and collected, and know that you have to problem solve in that moment. Like I asked this, so I've interviewed people for different jobs throughout my past, and whenever I was interviewing for an events job, I would always just ask point blank, is your immediate reaction if like the building caught on fire or something happened, do you want to go run into a closet and cry? Like, I'm not trying to be insensitive. Are you wanting to go sit alone and just be very upset? Or are you the one jumping into that fire and like getting it down and getting all organized and acting like everything's fine? So that's kind of event planning, especially when you get to the level of like thousands of people in your space, because you are responsible for every single one of those people's safety. And yeah, so I hope that helps. I kind of like thought about that as I was remembering my past event experience, but they are really fun. I will say, during COVID, guys, the event industry, it's so sad. The art industry, performances, I mean, it's just, I know we're going to get back to it, but like in this moment, I'm imagining finding an events job. I don't know what year you are, Jasmine, but I imagine it's going to be hard. I don't know how many events are taking place right now. But if that's what you're interested in, you love and it excites you, go for it. I mean, events are really, really fun.
Okay, great. Anything else? Do you have anything you want to add either, Emily?
No, Nicole's just making me homesick. I'm from Maui, so her talking about everything. Yes, I keep putting hearts up because I'm listening. But yeah, it's making me very, very homesick.
That's right.
I loved it there. I think you were there after I went to Kentucky. I came to Kentucky in 2008. So yeah, I loved the Maui Arts and Cultural Center. I've performed on that stage.
Oh,
a beautiful space. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm having some flashbacks. And I'm surprised that your favorite event wasn't one of the reggae concerts that they have outside.
I didn't personally plan those. So I only did our fundraising events.
Those, I went to one and that was an experience. So
I will say, y'all, if you ever work for a performing arts center, most likely, because I've I worked for one and then I interned for a couple. You get free tickets to every show. That's like their incentive because they don't really pay you anything. So that's really fun though. I mean, in Maui, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I went to every single show ever because it was free. And Maui's small and there's not a lot to do there, but that's the joy of it.
That's all I have. You had such a great talk, and I love all of the questions. I always feel like it's an extremely successful talk when we have multiple questions that keep us pretty late. So I appreciate you staying on with us and getting to learn more about your career. And I say this in every talk. I think the common theme with every professional that comes on these talks is they talk about networking. And so just know, you guys, that is huge, that it's not something that one person says or it's something we're making up. Like it is a big thing, and it's a big part about kind of growing as a professional and making those connections, because they are extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was really instilled in me when I was y'all's age, and I'm lucky and glad, but I think also I didn't have the fear of reaching out to random people. So that's just really, if you have that, get rid of it. It's going to only hold you back. There's no reason to be fearful because everyone's been in your position. Everyone had to start a career at one point in their time in their life. Right. So, and yeah, and I know like Emily and I are older than y'all, but I'm pretty sure this is not an outdated methodology of getting a job or just meeting people. Like, yeah, people like to interact and connect and help each other. And that's why it will always continue. So yeah.
And the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
Just shoot your shot. Isn't that the thing you all say nowadays? Here we go. Just reach out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if there's no more questions, I just want to say thank you guys so much for talking to me, for asking me questions and having me here. Thank you, Emily, for working out the details. Thank you, Emma, for recommending me to Emily. I appreciate that. Yeah, good luck, you guys. You're going to rock it. It's going to be great. I know this is a scary time in life, but it's exciting. Like, you should be really excited. The world is your oyster. I know now I sound really old, but please email me if you ever want to chat or have questions. I love talking to people about these type of things.